Hello everyone, I'm Xavier, host of Playtime and SAMAMBOOS, founder and mentor. And we're gonna start soon our live stream of the second episode of Playtime called The Meaning of Things, together with Michelle Andrea, the artist of the season. And yeah, just wait a little bit and we're gonna start very, very soon. you on YouTube because we've started the live. And I'm going to share the link on my story right now. So see you all okay. I guess we are ready to go live, kind of.
Can you tag me in that one and then I will post
If tag you?
on the story, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I think we're ready to go live. Please, if anyone is there live with us, can you please tell us if you can hear us? Because we have no idea if this mic is good, if you can hear us or not. So it would be good to have some feedback from you. Please, anyone who is joining us, let us know if you can hear us well. I have no fucking idea. Anyone who's joining us? I think so. Okay. So let's start this talk, everyone. Just out of context, we are doing the second episode of Playtime today. Playtime is a 5 episodes live show here on YouTube created by SAMAMBA. I am Shav, the founder and mentor. The founder of SAMAMBA and mentor for artists inside SAMAMBA project, and I've been mentoring Michelle for the last months so we can get to understand better her work, how to define her work, create some strategies as well that we can achieve together to boost her career here in Barcelona and presence as well, not only in Barcelona but also online. That's also why we're doing Playtime, so we can reach people all over the world. And yeah, so Playtime has 5 episodes in total. This is the second one in which we'll be talking more about the hidden meanings and concepts, philosophical concepts and artistic concepts that Michelle has been using in her 2 series in Situ and the people. So first, of course, we have the overall concept that kind of like embrace all of the 2 words, but each work in detail, they also have like more specifics kind of traits of each one of them, which we'll be also exploring during this episode. If you haven't checked the first episode, and you don't know Michelle, that's the episode that I would suggest for you, because there we are introducing her to anyone who doesn't know her and her work in a more like superficial level, more biographical level as well. And now we're going a bit deeper into the concept of the 2 things that we have presented in the last episode, and we'll keep going further and further within this artist work and vision as well. So yeah, also this is a live stream show, so feel free to send questions, to interact with us. This is always very welcome to have other people interacting, and this enriches the content and also our own experiences, because we can learn a lot from you. Like this to be a more like accessible type of content together with you. So yeah, I don't know, maybe we can start then. Like we created this kind of profile of the what means Michelle's main concept in a more like overall level, and then we're going deeper and deeper within this this episode. So please let us know if you're here as well or not, because we have no idea. Send hello, send hi, because we would love to know who is here with us. So we start. We want to start saying something specifically before we go into this topic. Hello or something, because I have been talking alone.
If you're here, thank you for joining us for round 2, episode 2 of this playtime show that we're doing. Represent SAMAMBA when you can.
Well, okay, so let's go. Let's just start.
Let's do this.
Yeah. So the main concept here that Michelle has been exploring, it's cultural heritage. Hey Fernando, nice. Like right in the bus. So we have a warrior here that is with us during his trip. Thank you for connecting. So yeah, basically Michelle's main concept is cultural heritage and identity. And you stated because as I said, I've been mentoring her, and we create different documents with different types of topics that I am trying to understand about the artists. And of course, in these documents, there is a lot of interesting things that the artist replies and answers. And it's like a part of one of her answers about the concept that she has been exploring in the last years. So you say, cultural heritage can be defined as the legacy of physical artifacts and intangible attributes of a group or society inherited from the past, a concept which offers a bridge between the past and the future. So yeah, I would like you to just talk a little bit more about that, what it means for you, and how it has been explored. Yes.
Well, in order to talk about this, like Chavi said, it's important to look, if you can, if you're interested, look at the first episode, because that will give you an idea of where this comes from. And it comes from, obviously, my personal identity and cultural heritage, or lack thereof.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, in the first episode, we did talk about my background, coming from Venezuela and growing up in the United States of America. And I don't know why this affected me in the way that it has, but it's something that I have always thought about. If not daily, then like weekly at least. But it's always present in my life, and clearly it has bled into my art practice. And it was in my art practice even before I knew it, like from childhood or from definitely in high school. I noticed this, but I didn't take it seriously. So yeah, like the quote says, cultural heritage is like coming from like a bridge between the past and the present. As we know, artifacts in archaeology and things like that, they talk about the past. Like archaeologists find these artifacts and these objects, and they can get an idea of how things were in the past. So I use this as a metaphor for my own story, trying to find things of my past culture. I mean, it's still in my daily life, but it's kind of tricky, like it plays with my mind, so it's a metaphor.
So it's like, it's not only about the world heritage and culture and past, but also your own.
Yes.
Like, so you have two different ways of working on this concept.
Yes. Yes, like what you said, these two series, as you may know, it's the people series and in Situ, which is the artifacts and the they both touch that same topic, just in different ways, especially visually. And I'm sorry, what was the question? I don't remember what I was
No,
saying.
that you use like as a
The same-
concept, not only for like cultural heritage or
Yes.
like past of culture itself work well and globally as humans, but
Yes.
also your own. It's your own cultural heritage. in
I
a way.
think it comes first from me and my personal experience, but I want it to be very relatable. Like, I don't want it to be just my story, because then it can be hard for people to read the images. So I really try to make it very, very broad. Like, it's about me because I'm the artist and I'm making it and I use my own experience to paint. But really, I think it's very relatable. When I talk about my work and I say, yeah, I like to paint about culture because I'm from Venezuela, but I've had not an identity crisis, but like, just struggles sometimes understanding my cultural identity. When I share that, so many times people say, oh yeah, me too, or if not them, a friend that goes through this.
Yeah. So even though it comes from your own individual experience, they're relatable. No?
Yes.
Like other people have been through similar stuff.
Yeah, very similar.
And you kind of pick the subjects that can be personal, but at the same time collective. In a
Yes.
way.
And this is not recent. This has been going on ever since maybe like boats were invented, or much easier like when the airplanes were invented, because that's when people can travel from country to country, place to place. But yeah, ever since that time, this has been a thing, because when people move, then like that culture from one place to another, there's a shift in culture and an identity. I say this because now I'm working as an art teacher, and a lot of my students, they're very young, they're children. A lot of my students, like for example today, somebody asked them, oh, where are you from? We were playing a game and we had to like talk fast. Where are you from? And the little girl was like this. Because her mom is from Italy, her dad is from France, she was born here, they travel everywhere. So when somebody says, where are you from? She was like, I don't know.
The world.
And like, to me, what I always say, I have a script. When people say, oh, where are you from? I say, oh, I'm from Venezuela, but I grew up in the US. Like, that's my script.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say about that? Well, yeah, I don't know. I just have, like, my script. Oh, I was going to say that somebody one time that I met was also from two places. And she asked me, when you introduce yourself, which one do you introduce? Because she also had two cultural identities. And I think maybe she was asking me because she didn't know which one to say. Or she would pick one.
Herself with that.
Yeah, or maybe she would just pick one, but she knew inside that she had another one.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I was like, oh, I say both. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Maybe I
that's
went on
an
a tangent.
interesting perspective of that. Yeah, but by the way, if you're here with us and you want to send questions or comment something that like is relatable to you as well, like regarding this struggle of maybe being from another country or not, if you're like, I don't know, how do you even say that, like by nationality, I don't know, how is it for you? But I also wanted to like go into the bullets that we have here on the site. So we have like here Synthetism as like some of the art movements and artistic expressions that Michelle has been exploring. They are different for each series. They are not for all of them. But I think it's interesting to say, for example, especially at this moment in the episode, about intangible culture. And like a lot of people might not know what this means, and I think it would be interesting to like explain a little bit or give some examples of what this could be and how you do that in your work.
Well, first of all, intangible means something you cannot touch. Wait, touch. And also something I want to say before I talk specifically about intangible culture. We're recapping this, but we met in the university UIC, Universidad Internacional de Cataluña. We studied Gestión Cultural, which is art and cultural management. So when people ask me, did you come to study in Spain? I say yes. And they say, what did you study? I say cultural management, or in Spanish, Gestión Cultural. And everyone says, what is that? Like,
people they have no idea.
Yeah, and people.
What do they even do? Do you even study culture?
But you know what? Like when I think about it, it's like that's true. Like that's a very, like I studied culture. Okay, what does that mean? Like culture is so present in our life, but what is culture? It's like asking what is art. But for me, like the way I understand it, culture is what a civilization does. So things like going to the bank,
and not necessarily ancient.
Yeah, no, not at all. What we do today, whatever you did today, how was your day? How are you? That's your culture.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get to school? How did you get to work? Did you go to the bank today?
Or like, yeah, but I wonder if it's not like how you do things.
Yeah.
You know, because like.
And not just how, but like what do you do?
Yeah. Oh, both, you know,
Yeah.
because for example, there's also the how, because as humans, we do have a human culture, you know, also, you know, like that it doesn't really depends on where you're from. It's just like as humans, we have some common, naturally, we have some common behaviors that are part of being human, you know, like just like monkeys, specific type of monkeys have as well. But then, of course, if you're coming from, I don't know, like a place that is northern, you have totally different needs, which shapes the culture in that place. And maybe like how you cook, then is the how. Like how you cook is totally different from someone in Brazil, for example, because they are more abundant, you know, regarding the weather is better, they have more food, or they have more abundance. And then when you go to the northern place, it's like something a bit more, I would say, like poor regarding diversity, you know, of food, or
so they have to adapt to what they have.
Yeah, because it's also culture is dependent on where you are, geography, weather,
your environment,
language, you know, like I don't know, there's so many things that
so all these things, you cannot touch these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not like an object.
So what I try to do with the In Situ series is make these things into an object, which is tricky. I don't know, do we have T for teacher or transition?
Here?
Yeah. Because this is what I do. I try to, it's very difficult for me, to be honest, but I think of these things that can be in the realm of culture, and I try to make my own version of an artifact. This one is titled T for teacher or transition.
Actually, I'm gonna put the actual one, because here is just the character.
So this is like an artifact of the letter T, which in this painting specifically stands for teacher or transition. Because I think I've explained this to you, but in my life, like there have been very important teachers that have taught me and molded me into who I am now, or like transitions in life where I've had to adapt to a new culture, for example. Like living a transition from one country to another, or living a transition from one age, like let's say 14 to 17, or 14 to 15 even. Like that transition, you cannot touch this. So that's what I try to do. I try to like take that sensation and make it into an artifact.
Yeah, translated into an object,
Yeah.
which is also for now it's in a
Yes, on canvas.
yeah. Okay.
Get him out of there.
Get him out of here. Cool. Okay, that's very nice. If you have any questions, please shoot. That would be very cool. If you can hear us, if you can't hear us, please let us know as well. It's always good to know. And yeah, so I think we can now start to go deeper a little bit in the each like specifics of each series, maybe, and how they connect with this concept of cultural heritage and identity by themselves, you know? And also what is the symbolism in each one of them, what is the aesthetics that has been chosen as well, and the artistic expressions that you're using. So first we have the people. So we have the people series. Here we have the card as well, specifically for this series, which Michelle has been using the paper, canvas, collages as well. Like it's the more like, I don't know what exactly you're using for the collages, like the newspaper and other stuff. Like what is?
It depends. I mean, yeah, it's any type of paper.
Mm-hmm. So
Mainly paper.
acrylic and oil pen. And from Michelle in her statement, she says that this series investigates the customs and behaviors of different cultures through daily life scenes that reaffirm their identity and traditions, which is very interesting to me because a lot of times we don't have the understanding how the traditions that has been surrounding us, especially if we have been in the same place for so many years, how they actually shape our identity. Our identity is not anymore like separated, you know. And even if you think about our own families, like even if my nuclear family has been traveling, they do have their own kind of culture and behaviors, you know, that we end up adopting. So it's like, I think this is an interesting way also of like that culture reaffirms an identity many times of someone, you know, or someone really, instead of being more like individualistic and a bit more like, I think altruistic, you know, like much of what they do or who they understand that they are comes from also these traditions and cultures that they have been experiencing in contact, you know, for so long. So I think this is a very interesting thing.
Yeah, like something I read about, like when reading about culture, it said that culture is a human necessity. Biologically, we need to feel like we belong somewhere, and culture provides that space where it's like in a society we have similar traditions and similar identities, you know, like no one has the same identity, but culturally speaking.
Yeah.
So when I say showing, like this series investigates customs and behaviors of different cultures. Again, I think I mentioned this in the first episode, but I think I lean more towards human culture now. I used to always think, oh, I want to paint Venezuelan culture or US American culture, but I love other cultures, so I want to paint this culture and that culture. But in that way it gets really tricky, because what if I want to paint something about Asian culture? I don't know really anything about that, but it intrigues me. But what I am intrigued by, or what interests me, is like the human culture part of it. Like, yes, it's their specific country or specific continent, some obviously always, but what I'm interested is in how people share this culture.
Yeah. So you would say it's like your work is more curious about literally like differences.
Yes.
So what is curious about for you is about what does this culture do, this group, you know, and this, like certain
But
of
I think
unity.
it's like the differences and similarities, and in the document you were talking about, I remember, or I don't know if it was that, but I remember I've spoken about. For me, I have, like, since I was a little girl, again, coming from between two countries, between two cultures, I was in a position to compare and contrast. I always say it's like a Venn, you know, the Venn diagram. It's used for analysis.
Okay.
So it's to compare and contrast, compare similarities and contrast the differences. So you have two circles, and in the center they overlap. So here's
Okay.
like the similarities, here's the differences, and then in the center, or maybe it's like the two differences in the
And
center.
then center what connects.
Yeah, what connects, what overlaps.
Yeah.
So I think coming from that place of where I have always been in the middle of two cultures, I think that influences this a lot, because I'm not only searching for the differences, not only searching for similarities, but both between all the different cultures.
Yeah. Yeah. I see.
So in these images that are passing by from the People series, I think we also talked about this last episode, but you see people playing in snow. Children living in tents. So these people, the series is called First Encounter with Snow, and it's based on exactly this cultural, not identity, but this type of culture where, for example, there's people that live on an island, possibly their entire life. Have they ever seen snow? No. So it's like, I don't know, like you said, if you live somewhere for so long, you don't realize that this tradition is your identity.
Yeah.
So like for them, they live on an island, they think that this is
Reality.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I think I also love that, finding another culture and realizing it's okay to do things differently.
Yeah.
So that's what this specific series is about, like first encounter with snow. Some people have never seen snow, so they have to encounter it, or like these people are encountering it for the first time, whereas maybe somebody only lives where there's snow.
Maybe they never saw scent. I don't know. like-
Exactly. No, that's true. Like I remember I studied with so many people that had never even been on an airplane or had never been to a beach,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's their culture.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. And in this one, in the People series, you use certain artistic expressions, no? Like the Synthetism and Post-Modernism as well, in order to portray these traditions of each group or place as well, no? An intangible culture that can connect or even like be very different from each one of them. Can you explain a little bit more why the Synthetism and the Post-Modernism?
Yeah. To be completely honest, I had never pinned my art in a specific expression, like you say, or a specific art movement. I don't know why, like that's so, like now I understand that I should have done that, but I just never did. But so now, learning more about Synthetism, I see that, yes, this is something I really do in my work. Synthetism is really about these flat colors and solid colors. So, and I love that so much. And I think it's because it really shows in a painting that it's a painting, you know, because art, flat, like two-dimensional art, is supposed to show the world in a different way. So it doesn't interest me to paint like something three-dimensional on a two-dimensional flat canvas. So I think it's very exciting to see like these flat colors, because you wouldn't see that anywhere. So I think that's what like is really exciting
also think that the synthesis part that I also really like is that then of course here we're talking about the aesthetics, not the aesthetical part of it, but also like as a concept, it really makes you focus in the action, and or the emotion that the artist is feeling regarding that scene or that action or that object as well. And so it's more about they even get rid of details or stuff like that. That's why it's synthesized
Yes.
into something smaller, like into more the essence of whatever the artist is trying to portray. So you can still use a lot of colors, and actually most of them have very bright colors as well, because it's about emotion. It's about how it feels, that scene, to the artist, and not necessarily about the details or the 3D. It's not about that, but it's how the artist is trying to portray that scene, or their feelings or their perception of that action.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very, very interesting.
And for postmodernism, I think a big part in my work that is the postmodernism we've talked about this, that my work really focuses on faceless figures. And I think it also goes back to what you just said, that it's about the energy of the people. It's about the energy of the scene. So, like, having a face, I think it has always distracted people when they would look at my artwork. They would always say, "Who is that?" And I'm like, no, it's not about who this is. It's about this person in this image.
Yeah.
And in modernism, like I said, also there's a thing about rendering 3D on 2D, and I admire that. But for me, I do try to, I don't know, switch it up.
Yeah.
So that's where I see a lot of this postmodernism, the facelessness.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you see that is considered postmodern?
I think it's. Hello, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. It's not my painting, so I'm like, thank you for being here. No, I think what you said is it's pretty accurate, I would say. I even think like the faceless, to me, is the main characteristic regarding the postmodernism as well. I think we mentioned once. I wanted to get the notes about it, but I don't think I'll have the time for that, because there was another thing was very interesting a bit postmodernism. But anyways, I think.
Yeah, that's why I said, what about you? Because there was something I had to say.
Yeah, yeah, I can try, but I don't know if I'll find it so quickly. But there was another aspect of it that was. I think it was something regarding like. Yeah, I mean you said already.
Yeah.
I think that was the main point of it,
It is
an
the main
expected part of it. Not because postmodernism is about that, unexpected situations, and the faceless is just the main.
Also,
The chunks.
yeah, a trait of postmodernism is what you always tell me, the concept that there's a different reality, or like there's not just one reality. And I think this goes back to what we were saying about culture.
Mm.
No, it's okay.
If you'd like to show the game, the docs menu. I want to. Here. Okay, sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties. We
No,
have
I
it.
don't remember.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Something interesting
Oh
about.
yeah, that postmodernism plays with realities.
Uh-huh.
That it wants to present that there's not just one reality. And I think that goes back to what we were saying about culture. That these people, this is their first time with snow. But the reality of other people is snow. So like that's, I don't know, like these scenes portray the reality of the people in that scene, which is different to maybe the viewer.
Or even a new reality. No,
Yeah.
because it's the first encounter with snow.
Yeah.
Like to me, this unlocked kind of a new pathway, you know, like of possible existence or possible experience while alive, you know, like because the first encounter in snow, they never had that before. It's very interesting to think about this, like how the first time and most, like of course this is the most impactful one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the first time you see snow, the first time you go somewhere, and
It reminds me of my grandma. The first time she saw snow.
oh, how was this?
She wants to lick it.
Uh-huh.
But her voice, like when she saw it coming down from the sky, like the snow, she's like, yeah. And I
Okay.
actually, that little girl in the painting is me. I know it's not supposed to be who is that, but
In this one,
yeah,
all of them are
yeah.
you. Okay,
That was
and
my first time with snow.
and how like so these are, how did you do this? Like you recreate, how did you recreate this one?
They're from photographs.
Okay.
Obviously not exact,
Uh-huh.
but photo reference.
Yeah, okay. That's so nice. So yeah, exactly. Like in that day, probably you unlocked as a kid also.
Yeah.
A new experience, a new vision of world. You know.
Yes.
Please, if you have any questions, any comments, shoot, because this is what makes this live stream rich. That's why we are doing live streams. You know, for us to interact and talk together, and it's always nice for you to add something in the live stream. So we actually have one from Fernando. I also think that colors describe an epoch. Don't you think so? Epoch? Yeah, am I saying this right? Do you think so? If yes, which colors describes the actual times? Yeah, like a time, no?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting question.
I never thought of it this way, but with this question, I think it does, like I see it in the paintings. I think it does, like for example that one of the first time with snow. It's very dull, the
It's
colors.
It's like very nostalgic.
Yeah,
No?
that's what I was gonna say. I feel like the colors do kind of show that sense of memory and nostalgia, and like, but also like the colors are dull, but it's still very like fun. I think it's like maybe the texture and the designs
Yeah.
that brings the fun into it.
But I think also I wanted to add to this question because we were actually talking about this 2 days ago or yesterday, I don't remember anymore. But I mentioned this work that is now here, and this one too. I mentioned to Michelle in our mentoring session. For those who don't know, I'm Shav, and I'm the mentor of artists that work and collaborate with SAMAMBA, and we have weekly meetings that we define goals, that we work together in anything that we set together as important for this artist. And yesterday we were working on Michelle's portfolio, and I mentioned that I believe that those two works that I said, which is what's the name?
Some call this home.
Some call this home, and the other one?
Oh, negative.
Oh, negative. Yeah. To me, in this moment, contemporary moment that we're living, those are the strongest one of the series because of the colors. You know, because so this is very interesting what Fernando is asking, because that was a topic that we were discussing like very recently. And
Yesterday.
yeah, it's not necessarily like regarding the technique itself, the concept itself, but what galleries are looking for, or even what is like bombing, you know, in social media and stuff like that. Because there is this thing as well, no? The world exists. We have trends, you know. We always had trends. Actually, it's not something from the modern days. It's just a bit more intense because we have easier ways to communicate the trends between us. But trends always existed, you know. Like fashion, since fashion exists, the trends exist.
And this is culture.
Yeah, and exactly, and this is culture. And this type of colors today, they're very trendy, you know, and this is important for an artist to think about as well, you know. It's not, if they want to market this, if they want to be in a gallery, they have to be strategic. They have to know what is, that these people, these gallerists, or people on Instagram, whatever, what they're looking for today, what is trending, you know. Not that in a way that it will limit you and you just have to do this. No, that's not what I mean. But with consciousness and intention of what you're doing, and using this in your favor, you know, because you should be using this in your favor, not in a way to limit yourself or anything, or your creative process. But I think it's interesting because I do believe that colors do say something about an epoch, you know, like they about specific epochs or trending, you know. We have now like a lot of digital work, for example, as well, you know? And I see the colors, they're much more saturated and strong because people are using the mediums, which is digital mediums. And this makes the colors, because the computer can reach brighter colors than what a print shop can reach when it's printed.
Yeah.
So you see this extremely like gradient, like beautiful, extremely warm and contrasting colors, you know, like the purple kind of like with the blue today is very trending as well, like, and saturated like that because of the digital moment we're living, you know. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I think so too, but I think what you just said makes total sense, but I interpreted this question as, does it describe the actual times of the scene?
Like in your work?
Yeah, so like do these colors, for example in this one, does it describe that time?
I don't know, Fernando, if you want to.
No, I think it goes both ways, but that's
Could be,
what I want
like,
to say.
I didn't think about this possibility.
Yeah, because that's how I interpreted it.
Okay.
But now I'm seeing, because for example, in that one, O negative is also from a photo reference. You know, not exact, but I use a reference image to create the painting. That was not my photo. Like for example, other ones where I appear as a child and, you know, they're actually from my childhood and stuff like that. But for some, I'm outside, very outside of the scene, because I don't, like, I relate maybe to the image and it's my artwork, I'm changing it. But for example, the children that live in a tent, that's called, some call this home. I don't relate to that. I never lived in a tent. I've always lived in a home. But going back to, do the colors represent that time? Seeing that painting now, along with this question, I think the colors definitely represent that time when I was painting it.
During the process?
Yes, during the process, because I remember, like, I remember when I painted this, and I was sharing with you the other day, it's a very large painting, and I felt so free. And I remember I did that, to be honest, I did that giant painting. It's 2 meters, 6 feet. And I did that at least in 2 days or 3 days. And it's like now, like something this small, I take like 3 weeks. But like this one.
That's also something we were talking about in the mentorship, you know?
Yeah.
Because this also, I think, to me specifically, like, I love this mentoring because I really get to know the artist in depth, you know, like in a way of like even their personality and how it reflects in the process or in the work. And it's interesting to experiment, have this time also as an emerging artist to experiment to see what works best for you, you know. If you work better in a bigger canvas, be creative about how to make this happen, you know, because if you work better in that, you know, like that's it. Maybe it's a calling. Maybe it is indeed a sign of your own body that you should be focusing on this, you know, instead of something small, which maybe another person, actually Anthony, he creates miniatures, you know.
Oh
so
my God,
and he likes that, you know, and that's it. Like some artists, they are more into something like big, large, you know, like I don't know, even the techniques, you know, but there are other ones that they're focusing on mini stuff, you know, which all of them has a place, you know, and I think that's very interesting too. And also it's being mature to acknowledge and understand as an artist, like, oh wow, I work better in this type of medium or in this technique. You know?
It's like something you have to understand so that you can produce.
Yeah, because you produce. That doesn't mean, again, I'm never an advocate for like limiting yourself.
Yeah.
But if you work better in this way, with this size of canvas, with I don't know, this technique, this medium, blah blah, you should keep doing this while you're exploring on the side other stuff, because you always change as well. You know? Like as an artist, as a person, you should always have room to expand and to change. But at the same time, while you don't define the other stuff, it would be interesting to keep doing what's working for you as well. You know? It's always this balance of like improvement and change and exploration, but also focusing on stuff that are working for you and that you're good at or that comes natural. Cool. Yes, I think colors become stronger this time. Like I maybe regarding the situation.
Yes, of the digital era.
Yeah, for sure. Like they're popping. Okay, shall we go to the In Situ series? Okay, so here we have actually the next series. So we've been working in these two series during the mentorship with Michelle. The people, which we just showed and talked about, and now In Situ, which is the one that Michelle has been currently exploring more, and focusing a little bit more in this moment of her life. And in this one, I'm a fool for this series as well, because extremely, although it does connect to the cultural heritage, conceptually, it's in a totally different style, in a totally different way,
This one matches the green of the...
I picked for one of these reasons. So I think this one is very interesting. Here Michelle has been using paper, canvas, acrylic, oil paint, something very similar to the other one actually, and pastels and pen and pencil, right? And this one, the statement is: artifacts help understand the past and preserve cultural heritage. They provide identity and the connection to shared customs. But what if someone is taken away from their own culture? So here, Michelle is also raising a question, and this is actually connected to the name of the series, In Situ, which is actually a question mark. If you didn't notice, there is the name In Situ, question mark. What if someone is taken away from their own culture? Can you explain a little bit what means In Situ and how this connects with this comment that you wrote in the mentorship?
So In Situ is an archaeological term. It is Latin. The literal translation would be like in its place. So for archaeology, it's a term used for things that were found in the place of its origin. So let's say like a throne of a king, like in ancient times. It's like ancient. A throne of a king, and the excavators find the throne where it actually was during the reign of this king, that was found in Situ, in its place of origin. And I think, like, now referring to this question, what if someone is taken away from their culture? I think this is all linked to what we have been talking about, but I love this question because it just reminds me a lot of people that were born somewhere, live in that same place until they die. They don't really understand what it's like to lose.
To be out of place.
Yeah, to be out of place. But I don't mean it like just because they're out of place. I just mean like they don't. Yeah, maybe they just cannot grasp that phenomenon of being from somewhere and having to adapt to another place. Or if you're not the one that moves, but your family, your family history, maybe like 3 generations ago, your family moved, but now you live in this place, but you're like, my ancestors are from this place. Like those people that have only ever stayed in one place their entire life until they die, they don't really understand this.
Yeah.
So that's why I like this question. Like, how do you answer this? Or like, I don't know, it's just like a question to get your mind moving.
Yeah.
Like, how does somebody survive this?
And
it happens every day.
Yeah. And I think another interesting aspect of this series is that you kind of create your own totems. No? Like, I love this concept of like safeguarding your own past or culture. Can you explain this a little bit more as well? What it means?
Yeah, so like I've said, I use my own story to develop this series, but I don't use, like, going back to my personal history. I'm from Venezuela but grew up in the United States, but this doesn't mean that I use specifically Venezuelan history or artifacts in this. It's just a metaphor for me to explore this for myself. So it's not like I use specific artifacts from Venezuela or anything like that. It's just like, it's more for the concept.
Yeah. And in this one, I'm about to share, by the way. Yeah, you want to share?
Yeah, well, it's just a painting that it's not done. You're seeing this in progress, live on YouTube.
Wow.
Here,
Just
maybe you can hold this
very
one.
Yeah.
So this is just an example of what I was just saying. I don't use specific Venezuelan imagery, but I do use like hidden meaning. You know, it all needs to be ambiguous. So in this one, it's supposed to be like a map / manuscript, like we've been talking, and you see 2 artifacts. It's the same one, but this one is black and white, and this one is in color, or will be, because it's not finished yet. And I guess I can go ahead, now that I've shown you this, I can go ahead and share some secret hidden meanings. But, for example, here we read it left to right. Here. It's like, this is like the area where this artifact was found. And it says catalog 2003 because 2003 is when my parents and I moved to the United States. So that's like a hidden meaning, okay, 2003, because that's when I was like excavated from Venezuela and taken to another place. And then it's like maybe a certain time, like it's not specific, you know, it's not like this means this, that means that, but like not excavated refers to like maybe a time that I didn't search for my past to understand, or like excavate my
Not research it yet.
not research my cultural past or anything. And then this one says 2023 which is kind of like, I would say it's like where I have found my understanding of my artistic process for this. So that's what that refers to. But then it says like specimen unknown, because even though I have so much more cultural understanding in general, I feel like now, especially like now being in Barcelona, I'm like more confused.
Are confused regarding what?
Because, so for example, in the past when I lived in the United States, when people would say, "Where are you from?" I would say, "Oh, I'm from Venezuela." But now, being here, people say, "Where are you from?" Now I have to say my script.
Yeah.
Now I have two places that where I'm from.
Yeah.
So, that's just like how I interpret it, like abstract.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, and I think it's out of context as well. I think what I really like about Situ is that there's different elements of like characters, like these ones that are rolling here in the images. So characters, which is like actually they're more artifacts, like they're statues that should be in the museum, or they were excavated, like in a field. So that's also why we have the maps, So like this is another element which I think is very interesting. Then of course we do have the statues, which are related to this cultural heritage of the past and understanding of the past. And as Michelle said, she used this as a totem to safeguard her own past. All of this actually is related to your experience, as a person. And I think it's a very interesting way to create, because you're creating a whole story kind of and universe, within in situ. I think that's very interesting as well.
And I think the map references also come from, because of culture and identity and stuff like that, like it also exists like geographic places, you know what I mean? Like for example, I don't know much of like Venezuela's geography. I know like basic stuff, but like specific things, like when people tell me, "Oh, this is here in like this area," I'm like, "Yeah, I've never heard of that." And that's my country, supposedly. So it's like I think geography is involved a lot. Actually, when I would explain my work in the past, I would always say that human geography was a very important part of my work, because human geography has to do with, it's basically culture, but it has to do with people moving from one place to another and how their environment impacts their behavior. So it's very similar, everything.
Yeah, it is like as we said before too. The geography impacts. It's like you cannot have culture is intrinsically connected to where you are. And actually, I also think another interesting aspect of this artwork, and I have a question for whoever is watching us. What do you think about this, like regarding this being artworks with characters, like that they are kind of personifications of emotions or past life experiences, in a way of like, do you think this is art? Like, I think this is an interesting question. Like, what do you feel about this regarding characters? Because, and I'm asking this because of this series, we have been exploring as well, like what we believe, how we would explain it, to gallerists or to you as well. And we understood that this is a combination between two different movements, which is like pop art with folk art. Folk art basically paints on intangible culture, like and traditional fairy tales, or traditional rituals, that a certain group performs in that area, for example. Now, this is folk art. There's many different aesthetics to it. There is no necessarily specific aesthetic to that, but it's the topic here. But then we have this switch, which is like the pop art. So like it's almost also this interesting combination of something that is like from a certain place, like folk, you know, like from a certain tradition, but at the same time it's popular, it's to others, which culture also is popular, you know? And we also call this pop because this series we did understand that it would be interesting to place it not only in galleries and traditional art spaces, but also to in a more popular environment, which could be like print shops, you know, I don't know, like concept stores, sell merchandise with these artifacts that were created by Michelle. And this is also a way to monetize quicker as an emerging artist. So this is a strategy, financial strategy for this artist that has been creating all of this on canvases, unstructured canvas as well. How can we ensure that this artist is, which is still emerging, which is very hard to make money as an emerging artist. It has always been, and it's still a reality. How can we still get some income coming through stuff that they are already creating? You know? Because selling art as an emerging artist, it is a challenge. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it's harder than if you were already established. You know, that's a thing, and it's true. So how can one artist still get income with their art, with their work? It is through creating certain like products with these artworks that they are creating, you know? So this can be anything. This can be tote bags, bucket hats. This can be, you can get creative. It can be anything actually. It doesn't have to be the traditional as well with merchandise. And actually I encourage you to be creative. Stuff that really are connected to the concept and the art that you're doing. For example, Michelle said that maybe this, or I don't remember which one, would be interesting to do like plush toy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It was the other one, the big one, the orange one.
Yeah, so like
or that one too.
A plush toy or something like that. And actually I have a surprise. Dun, 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 dun. It's not a merchandise thing, but I created something which is a potential. And which is this?
I think I know. Is it? Oh my god!
Animated version
That's so cute.
of your artifacts. And I mean, I see a lot of possibilities, you know, with this series, because here, for example, they are paintings, the ones that we're showing here in this slideshow, no? But we also created like stickers, kind of, no, with the characters and the artifacts that has been created. And basically, I just got them and put in an AI software that animates characters. You just need them. You just need the character.
I love that when he's like kicking his legs back.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting because you can also explore with technology. No, like different ways of showcasing your art or playing. This is also creativity. It is also artistic, you know, to play with stuff that you're already doing, you know. And I see with this little tiny example, I did like literally 10 minutes, those two. You can create so many interesting stuff to sell your merchandise or even to create, I don't know, in a solo show, you know, something different to make you pop, you know, because it's a very competitive world overall in the artistic scene, even more because everybody's fighting for the bread, which is not many breads around. So so yeah, you have to stand out, you know, and being creative and resourceful, I think it's another suggestion that I give, you know. Trying to, man, what are the trends, you know, what is happening, how can I connect this with my work in a way for me to become relevant slowly, you know. So yeah, we have our puppets here.
You know which one I see also like moving? The one we also talked, the couple hugging, that one. I see them legs maybe like going up and down.
Like cutely like that.
Yeah, like they're like you know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like you already see it, you already, So there are many ways to create this type of stuff, And I honestly think today the blend between the traditional, art and or traditional design mediums with technology, they will become more and more present. They're already getting present, and I think we have to keep updated, up to date with the trends, with stuff. Otherwise, I mean, you can choose, of course. Like depends on your goals, depends what you want, of course. And but yeah, I think regarding Michelle here and what we have been, working together and the goals and the vision also, this type of stuff makes sense. It's not for every artist. Be mindful about that. It's not for every artist, but still it's important to keep up to date anyways, for about the trends, because maybe some of them will fit in whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to reach as an artist as well. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of them because they are too heavy. So cute.
I know.
So yeah, I don't know. What else would you like to speak? If anyone has a question about whatever we're saying here, if you have a comment, please share. Or any question also for Michelle. She's here for that as well, to talk about cultural heritage, tradition.
I think something else, going back to the question, what if someone is taken away from their own culture? Also, by the way, that's the one that I was saying it could be a plush toy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But, going back to what if someone is taken away from their own culture? It reminds me of something I saw in the video that you shared with me. In the British Museum, they have a section of artifacts from Benin, ancient artifacts from Benin, and a man from Benin. Let me try to express myself correctly. Like the British Museum was saying, "Oh, I love the Benin artifacts. Like I've seen them my whole life." Yeah, the British people, like the people that have access to see them. But not everybody has access to travel to the British Museum. And so the man from Benin, he said, the first time I ever went to see these ancient artifacts that are from my country, like my ancestry, my history, like he was already grown when he got to see them. So they were saying, like basically the question was like, should these artifacts be in a museum? And they say yes, because that way people can see them and see their value. But then the problem is that these artifacts belong to a culture where it has been taken away from, and the people of this culture do not have access to see these artifacts. So I thought that was kind of related to this. Like, what if someone is taken away from their own culture? But not just that, and like what I just said is, what if something is taken away from them? Not like me physically being taken away, but like something taken away from me. And this is something we really see a lot in artwork. Like the Mona Lisa is in France, but it was an Italian painter, and I think a lot of people have that debate of like, no, it should be in Italy. And like in artworks, famous artworks, there's a lot of this pride and national pride. That's something else I want to explore more. I don't do it enough. I consider it in the concept, but I don't express it enough visually.
I mean, pride or
pride, cultural pride, yes, of course, but like national pride, because this is very strong. I see this. I always love to use the example
type of thing.
I love to use this example of the FIFA World Cup, because you want your country to win. And if not your country, then the country right next to yours, if they didn't make it to the World Cup. or whatever, the Eurovision.
Yeah.
You want your country to win.
That's an
anything.
interesting subculture. Eurovision.
Yeah.
For us, we're not
European.
Europeans. It was the first time. I don't know if you also like.
It was my first time watching the actual show, but I had heard of it.
Yeah, it's very very interesting.
But people want their country to win.
Yeah.
And if it's like for anything, the Olympics. What else is there that's like, I don't know, but let's say the Olympics. It's Brazil against the US. Which one will you go for? I'm going for Brazil.
Traitor!
I'm just kidding. But you go for, you know what, this is like what I was saying, like culture and cultural identity is a biological necessity, human necessity. You want to belong to this group. So when your group is playing, you're gonna go for them because that's, even if you're no longer in Brazil.
So you really want to belong to Brazil?
I wish. I really do. But going back to that, like, yeah, national pride and everything is like really present. It's always been present, but you know what? Something else I learned in my research. No, I learned that nationality, like having a nationality, it didn't exist until like the 1800s. The 1800s. Like before that, there was not
nationalist culture.
National documentation.
Okay.
Like maybe there were these countries, but it wasn't like nationality existed.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is like that was a man-made thing. And so I love this because that's what I say. Like I don't want to paint like the culture of this place or the culture of this place. No, like I want to paint human culture because that's what it is. Like what you were saying. If these people live more north and they don't have certain agriculture, then they're gonna cook this way. It doesn't matter if they're from Brazil or Tokyo or wherever. Like you know, they developed this culture based on their surroundings, and it just happens to be called this place.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we're all humans. Like that's another thing that gets me. Like I hate that like traveling costs money because we're all citizens of this planet. Like we're all here on Earth. But I understand it's like we use money because there's an economy. Like, you know, now I'm getting
a huge topic.
Meliado.
Yeah.
Me estoy echando un tío.
Yeah. Guys, if anyone is here with us, please shoot your questions, talk to us. Last time so many people talked to us and it was very, very cool. There are some comments, we did get some questions, but I encourage everyone to do it.
Yes, thank you to those who have been putting up with me, putting up with have been watching.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone who is here, who have been here for a little bit. We know that this is a long show, so everyone who just pop up for a little bit, also very grateful for that. Anyways, we'll be sharing the highlights anyways in our Instagram, in SAMAMBA. Please look for us if you don't follow us yet. Share also. Yeah, share the account. Michelle as well. In the last screen, when we finish, we're gonna have the QR code as well for Michelle's profile, so you can get to know her work better and support the artist. And yeah, SAMAMBA on Instagram. Literally, that's the name. You already know our logo, so you will be able to find us pretty easily, I guess. So what I still wanted to talk about is like how people relate to your work. This is a small video of when we showed, because it's SAMAMBA, we do have a team of volunteers. Today we have Mariana and Sarah helping us, but of course we also have Anthony as like the resident DJ that also helped with us. He also helped with other many stuff like artistic collaborations, you know. It has been great. So we do have many people actually that help us also in specific moments, you know. But we do have this team that is like with Mariana and Sarah, helping us with the SAMAMBA season, artist season with Michelle. And this was one of the studio visits that we did to present the concept of Michelle for both of them, because I don't think I explained that much in this way, but first I have the mentorship role with Michelle more one-on-one, so we can have a better flow between me and her, and this will go to every artist that we work with. So it's literally a dedicated time that we go in depth with all the work, and we organize this work as well to try to understand the consistency between them and how they kind of fit together. And also some strategies of branding, of marketing, and also to understand who we need to connect this artist with. So shall we put them in contact with galleries, with curators? What type of curators would be interested in this artist? So we do all this strategic analysis and also create the strategies afterwards. And then in this day we were showing the team, presenting them the 2 series in Situ and the people, and I wanted to understand a little bit, like, if you already had some feedback of people regarding the series, how they see this, I don't know, how is the viewer in this case?
I've received mainly like positive feedback and like constructive criticism. I think so far everybody has understood the concept with the visuals. But yeah, the only feedback for like suggestions I've received, it's like for the backgrounds, to have
in Situ?
Yeah, in Situ. To have it was Anderson. He said like I should have like more, or like lava explosion. Well, I mean for the orange one again, the one that I said could be flush.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Again, I'm the artist, so I don't have to listen to everything.
No, yeah.
But so far everything has been making sense. In fact, in this studio visit, they looked at the work and they had a very good understanding, like without us explaining.
Yeah, because first we let them see, each separately, each series, and we didn't really explain anything. And because we also wanted to understand what they would understand without any explanation.
Yeah.
And
I love that always. I love knowing what people see and understand, mostly like what they understand before giving them my version. So far so good. And for you, it's important, like,
no. That people nothing is important, nothing matters.
No, but I know what you're going to ask. Is it important that, let me see if I'm getting it right. Is it important that people understand what I'm trying to express? Like my concept?
Like accurately,
No, it's not important to me. Like, obviously, I feel like it is because I want people to make their own connection. And I think so far, like I said, so far so good. I think now I'm at a place where I do understand what I'm doing, kind of. So I think I can express this better now. So I think people do understand without like the me giving the explanation.
Yeah.
But it's not important to me because I love. Yeah, I think that's what art is. Everybody gets their own perspective. So I don't want to force my version on people because I want them to have their own interpretation.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's why also I said I don't use like specific artifacts or specific colors from specific places or countries, because I don't want to be specific, or like I don't want to be represent one thing. Yeah,
Okay.
I want it to be broad.
Yeah. And even out of has this any of this work had been shown?
No. Oh yeah, one of the red one. Don't tell my grandma, because that was the
From
first one.
Situ.
Yeah, from Situ. The People series, yes, almost most of it has been shown.
Okay.
Yeah, almost all of them.
Yeah, in Situ has been. You have been working since 2020 or 2021?
No, that's the People series.
Sorry, the People series.
Yes,
that's
since
what I meant.
2021.
Yeah. So in Situ you started when? Exactly.
In February, so about what we're in like month 7. That's month 2. So like 5 months ago. I'm bad at math. I'm an artist.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of like that.
Yeah. 5.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So yeah, I have 5 months developing in situ all these paintings, and the concept is very new. It's very fresh.
And how many pieces do you have already in Situ? Like,
I think-
average, like,
Yeah, let's say like 10 to 12,
because
because that's what I can think of right now. It could be more. It's definitely not less.
yeah, okay.
And there's so many in here, and some started as well in progress.
Cool. Okay, we're actually reaching our time, and I think I just wanted to let whoever is here with us. Again, thank you so much for coming, for sending comments and
Yes, thank you, guys.
questions, for the support. Please support us further by, I don't know, following us, sharing this. The link will be here available. You can always come back to this content if you found anything interesting and would like to share with friends, other artists, creators, galleries. We need your support for Michelle, for the platform as well, for SAMAMBA to grow. We are very new project as well. We've been around for over a year, something like that. Not even actually. Like, close friends know SAMAMBA since a year and a half now, but the world necessarily knows us for less than a year, because the first event we did for open to people was September 2022. So yeah, it's been less than a year, but we've done so much as well. We've grown so much.
I know, I was thinking about that recently, how we're planning for an event in September, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's
We
been
were
a
talking
year.
at this moment,
Yeah.
like a year ago. We
Yeah.
were talking about the first event, because Michelle was the artist. We had an exhibition about her work. Not about the People series, not about In Situ.
Yeah.
This was totally different, other works. But she was the artist that we were showing.
And I think like sometime, I don't know, maybe it could be on Playtime, or I don't know where, like what platform I could talk about this, but I think it would be interesting to show those works, or like talk about, because I've told you like last year I was a confused artist, like
That would be interesting to.
yeah, because I have things that are related to this concept, that like it's always been related to this, but visually it was all a mess.
Yeah, maybe we could do this even in the last episode
Or,
to wrap
yeah.
this up. You know, how development, how it's going. You know, because it would be a nice retrospective.
Yeah, especially since it's like SAMAMBA and SAMAMBA, so
Yeah,
to
that's
show
true.
that. And for
Let's
you
do
as well,
that.
to show like, because most of this comes from my assistance, like from my mentor, because you know, like what's that saying? Not like great minds think alike, but like maybe like 2 is better than 1. I'm trying to think of like a phrase that says like it's good to get some help. And as an artist, you're so focused on your work and like yourself and you. So outside perspective is essential.
Yeah, and but yeah, I see the development already of you. You know, it's also from since the last year and now. But again, we need support, because, as I said, we're babies, basically SAMAM babies. You know,
SAMAM babies.
because we've been here for little time. I'm giving my best to make this evolution be faster as we can, not only for Samamba, and for this project, but also for the artists that we are helping already and the upcoming artists that we would like to work with. So anyhow, if you can send us galleries, that would be nice for Michelle, on Instagram. If you can share the contents, follow us, send to other artists as well the platform, because this content might be very interesting for them, for your friends, and other cultural managers or galleries that are here or even in another place. And also the artists themselves, please help them. We have here now, I'm gonna put the cover. Santo Anthony will start to play their DJ live set soon to close up this episode. But here we have the QR code for Michelle's profile. Please check her work out and support this artist from today. But more things are coming very soon. We're now starting to plan what type of events and programs we're gonna create for Michelle's season, because we're still in the middle of the season with her. So there's still a lot of stuff coming, including the next episodes of Playtime. The next one is We Gotta Process. So this episode is about the process that the artist goes through while creating. So this can go since conceptualization of the piece, the research process, and the actual painting process,
The actual physical process.
Yeah, and I think this will be very interesting too, because it also is very related to how this artist works themselves, their personality, and you can also learn a lot from this, I guess. So thank you everyone who has been here with us today. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next Playtime episode. That will be not next Thursday, because this show is every other week. So every 2 weeks we have Playtime on Thursdays around the same time, around 7. And yeah, so I hope to see you in the next show, where we'll be talking about the process of Michelle Andrea. So yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
ciao ciao, and stay with Santo Anthony, amazing DJ set created especially for you.
You